Hi, this is Tom Swasey, Real Estate One Max Brook. What a year. There's been a lot going on the last month. So we have a lot to cover. We're going to cover the mortgage rates and then what drives the mortgage rates, what are the key indicators, and then I'm going to make a prediction. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to make a prediction for 2025, which could be a good thing for you for buying homes. Then we're going to get into talking about prepping your home for winter. There's 11 key tips here. We're going to go through that. Highly useful for you, and maybe you've done some of these already. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up with the local market updates for Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties. So stay tuned. So let's talk about mortgage rates and the economy a little bit. So mortgage rates have gone up. 6.79% for a 30-year mortgage and 6.0% for a 15-year, which is up quite a bit from just a month ago. So I know you've heard me talk about this before, but I mentioned about the labor report and I mentioned about consumer price index and also the Treasury note of where that's running. And the reason why that's important, those are key things that drive mortgage rates. So it's good to know, it's good to track that. The labor report, if we look at that, only 12,000 jobs are added in October, which is pretty feeble. That is well below I think it was 110,000 jobs that was supposed to be added. The unemployment is 4.1%, which is unchanged. So overall, the job market is still pretty weak, or has weakened some, which would be a reason for the Fed to lower rates again December. The other thing is consumer price index, which is really looking at the inflation. That was at 2.6% for October, which is slightly above the 2.4% for September. Not a big change. I mean, we're going to get a little bit of variation up and down, and that's to be expected. The last thing is a 10-year Treasury. That's currently running at 4.47%, and that's up quite a bit from last month, which was 4.1%. That is a big deal because the mortgage rates most closely follow the 10-year Treasury. When we look at the 10-year Treasury, there are some key things that are driving it higher. One is concern of inflationary government policies. The other thing we have going on is we have skyrocketing national debt and we have geopolitical risks. And the T-bill percentage has gone up, which is driving mortgage rates up. They've raised those rates because of the additional risk of buying the T-bills. Now, what can happen next? For 2025, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make the prediction that the government starts the practice of quantitative easing again. Now, quantitative easing, by definition I have here on the screen, is a form of monetary policy in which a central bank, like the U.S. Federal Reserve, purchases securities in the open market to reduce interest rates and increase the money supply. So this will lower the interest rates, lower mortgage rates, and help spur on the economy. Short-term, quantitative easing could be good. Long-term, may not be the best thing. Get your head out from under the blanket and do these important things for your home before winter. Test your heating system. Check for air leaks. Unfortunately, it's too late for exterior fixing of trim, but check for air leaks around the windows, doors, and it could be just a simple weather trim fix that a handyman can do. Clear your gutters. You're going to regret it if you don't. You're going to get ice backup problems. You're going to get a lot of water around your house. So make sure that's done. If you have a fireplace, clean your chimney. Get someone out there to do that. It's always good to do that once a year. Test the carbon monoxide and smoke detectors for obvious reasons. The sprinkler system needs to be shut down, so there should be someone that shuts that down, blows out the lines. But along with that, the faucets should be drained. Yeah, if you don't have internal valves on your faucets, make sure that you do. Remove dead or dying trees. Make sure to scan your roof. Look for loose shingles. Look for issues there. Possible holes. You don't want to have critters getting into your attic. And then prep your AC unit for winter. Make sure to turn your circuit breaker off and then cover the unit. Consult with the manufacturer because some manufacturers recommend that you only cover the top and not the whole thing. And then lastly, insulate your attic. Hot air rises and it goes right through the attic, one of the biggest vulnerable areas, and it's a little bit easier to address versus windows. Windows, of course, is another source of heat loss. A little more expensive to address that. So let's look at the market trends then for Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties. there were substantial price increases in Oakland County, as you can see, 12.3% median and 16.8% for residential homes. Year to date, same way, 6.2% and 9.8% average. The other thing to note too is the condos also had a healthy price increase year over year at 10.9% median and 4.7% average. Year to date, the same way, around 5%. Moving on to Macomb, the median and the average sales prices also had healthy increases, but not as great as Oakland County at 8.1% and 5.6%, with the year to date also substantial of 8.0% and 8.3%. If we look at the condo market was not quite as hot as residential, with still modest price increases of 3.7% and 4.1%, with year to date being very similar. One thing to note for Macomb is the large increase in condo inventory of 32.7%. Moving on to Wayne County, it also experienced some healthy price increases year over year of 5.6% and 8.3%, with a similar amount year to date. The surprising thing here was that the condos were flat from a price perspective for the month. Year to date, however, it was still pretty healthy at 8.6% and 5.3%. And inventory of condos has come up pretty significant at just over 20%. Lastly, if we hone in on Detroit, I think that the big story here is, well, one is residential remained flat as far as pricing year over year. However, if we look at year to date, it was at 12% and 4.1%. The big story here is looking at the condo prices. Condo prices really have come down quite a bit, over 30% average and median. The condo prices have dropped significantly, with a 38% median sale price reduction and 28.5% average. One other thing to note is that there are some bargains out there. They're selling under list price, so there's some room to negotiate. So just keep that in mind if you are looking to buy a condo in Detroit. So we covered a lot of stuff today. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to IM me or give me a call. We could set up an appointment and talk a little bit more about your particular circumstances. As always, feel free to check out my YouTube site at Tom Swasey Realtor is the handle. 2025 is going to be an interesting year, and unfortunately, we don't have all the answers. We're going to have to kind of wait to see how the policies roll out and what happens. It possibly could be good, or it possibly could be very bad. That's the volatility that we're looking at. So stay tuned. We'll have another update next month. Thanks for listening.